is a great day here at Inside the Mastermind because I have a great friend joining me in the studio, Frank Grannis.
Hi, May.
Hi, buddy. Welcome back.
Thank you very much for having me.
I love having you, especially that you're taking the time. I know you're super busy, so the fact that you took time to come into the studio just touches my
Well, I
heart.
appreciate it.
Makes my day.
I wouldn't miss it for the world, so thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Well, I know that you are super successful at selling houses.
Thank you.
And I want to know the secret. What do you do? What makes you successful?
Hard work.
Yeah, that's for sure. Hard work pays off.
But thanks for noticing my success. I appreciate that.
Always.
If I could, I'll highlight a few things and then maybe circle back to those.
Okay.
Marketing expertise, definitely in the areas that I serve, you need to know the markets.
Yes.
It's understanding the needs of my sellers. It's helping them prepare to sell a home properly. It's capturing, once that house is looking great, capturing it in all its glory. Then it's being able to massively market it to the world.
Okay.
And then actually some active selling as well, strangely enough.
Right. Maybe you can touch on that.
Yeah, I could. So,
Okay.
so to kind of circle back to those things, some funny stories too, is knowing the market. Of course, there's agents out there that'll take any listing, they'll just try and sell it, but I don't approach it that way. I want to sell and really know a market. So I was competing against, I call it competing, but I was selling a house.
Well, you're an athlete, so we say competing. I get
It's
it.
true.
Right.
But I was listing a house for sale. I knew the market. I'd sold homes in that area before. I knew exactly the price it should be at, almost to the dollar. And someone else was coming in who had never sold in that area at all, didn't know the market, and they listed their home, the home of their seller, for literally $350,000 less than I was.
Wow.
I mean, that's a big difference.
That's a huge difference.
And I wouldn't have wanted to have been, in that room once that owner
Right.
had found that out. But we ultimately kept that distance when we sold the house. So we actually sold our house. We're close to about $300-something thousand difference.
Amazing.
So
Wow.
that's just a little insight on that.
Right.
And then in terms of the goals of a client, it's very important to know. Everyone assumes that someone wants to sell it for as much as possible and quickly as possible, and that's true. But there's things that are in the middle of those that you need to uncover. It could be someone that I'm selling a house for wants to do it privately. They want to do it off market. They don't want people in their house for whatever reason. Or they might be trying to do a 1031 exchange or going through a divorce. I mean,
So many variables.
there's so many variables, and it's
Right.
important for me to know that.
Right.
And then if you get into preparing a house, it's really important I need to be almost a concierge, because I can say, oh, the house needs to look good. Well, what does that mean?
Right.
I mean, do you
Just
paint
tidy?
it? Yeah,
Right.
tidy.
Tidy
Do
up,
you
put
paint
your
it?
toys away. Right.
And so I help them, walk them through that process.
navigate.
And navigate and manage it.
Right.
And bringing in, I pay out of my own pocket, I pay for a staging consultant to come to all of my listings in preparation, so we can get the house not just maybe painted, but looking as good as possible.
Right.
And then we ultimately just get into the marketing aspect that I mentioned. I have a huge database, thousands of people that are purchasing homes or have raised their hand to say that they're interested in purchasing a home. So I don't just put it out on an MLS listing and hope it sells. I actively promote it to that database, in the United States, to the international community, because as we've talked about, homes sometimes in certain markets seem like they sell themselves, but you cannot take that for granted.
No, and the market is shifting.
It is shifting.
So I think sellers need to do their work
Correct.
in order to get their home for top dollar.
Right.
Right.
And so if I have a process which works, and it does, I'm not going to veer away from that regardless of the market.
No.
And then the final thing I say when I talked about selling it is I'm actively selling homes. I see agents sometimes who take a listing and then they put it on a lockbox and just let people come through the house and
Let people sell it for them.
yeah.
Right.
And what if the agent who brought that buyer is a good enough agent, but they just don't know the house, or they don't know the community, or they don't know this or that? I'm actively in there for every showing, pointing out all the highlights,
Right.
trying to answer any questions right then and there on the spot, and try and get them to place an offer.
Right.
So there's a lot of things, and I know we don't have a lot more time, but that's kind of some top line ways that I've been successful.
Right. Well, thank you so much for sharing your insight. You gave some secrets out, that's for sure.
Well,
but
that's
it does
okay.
make you successful, and I
Thank
think
you.
it speaks volumes of who you are as a person,
Well,
too.
thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, anytime. Well,
Okay.
thanks for joining me at
All right,
Inside the
thank you.
Mastermind.
Thank you, May.
Anytime.